This is USVI News, your Virgin Islands connection.
Hello, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us here today for this edition of USVI News. I'm Brissa Bradfield. Emily Matson has the day off. Well, our top story check today, after a weekend of giving, now comes the great gift return. But this year, there were more hurdles. A recent survey found 6 in 10 retailers have actually changed their return policies. Nancy Chen explains.
With the holiday shopping season underway, 'tis the season also for surprises, including a crackdown on online returns. The cost to return an item by mail at Zara, now $3.95. For J. Crew, it's $7.50. And for Dillard's, that return shipping cost will set you back almost $10. They're all part of a growing list of retailers charging return fees, typically in the range of $3 to $10 to send back purchases.
I hate it as someone who likes to shop and return things often.
Mefesh Wasi shops almost entirely online and was recently hit with return fees after ordering multiple pairs of pants.
I haven't been able to find a pair of pants that actually fits me.
I needed to try on a lot of things, and for certain stores I did have to eat that $5 cost.
A fee some experts say shoppers should get used to, with labor and shipping costs up and retailers dealing with excess inventory this year. And all those returns add up. According to the National Retail Federation, $102 billion worth of online orders were returned in 2020. That number more than doubled to $218 billion last year.
About 40% of our merchants are charging for refunds, and that's up. It's nearly doubled in the last 12 months.
Jonathan Poma is the CEO of Loop, a company helping more than 1,500 retailers save on return costs.
This is actually a big problem for retailers.
When you start to stack these costs, free shipping on the outbound order, free shipping on the return, maybe a customer acquisition cost of $50, and you're out almost twice the cost of the return.
And with as many as 50,000 brick and mortar stores projected to close over the next 5 years, the trend towards return fees isn't going away anytime soon.
I think return fees just help us see a little bit behind that curtain by making us pause and think about our purchasing decisions and whether we are being wasteful or not.
Turning a page in how we buy and return.
And the year is now wrapping up, and many will be making some financial resolutions for 2023. And experts say don't wait until January 1st to pin down those money moves. Jen Sullivan has 5 financial things that experts recommend you do now to set yourself up for success in the coming year.
Before you ring in the new year, how about reining in your 2023 finances?
You want to be able to have your ducks in a row. You want to have your finances organized.
After a year of historic inflation, rising interest rates, and growing recession fears, this duo of financial experts say now is the perfect time to reflect on your spending and plan for the future.
Prioritize paying off high interest rate debt, bulking up your emergency fund.
If improving your finances is one of your 2023 resolutions, here are 5 money moves to consider these final days of the year. 1. Look ahead and decide which big purchases you'd like to make next year. Then create a plan to afford that new car, house, or trip.
Making sure that you are building all of that into your budget is going to be number 1.
2. Look back at your expenses and figure out what worked and what didn't. 3. Tackle that lingering debt. Either pay it off now and avoid dragging it into next year, or come up with a plan to pay it off in 2023.
We see the feds raising the rates on interest, and so things like credit card debt, personal loans, anything that has a variable interest rate is going to cost you more.
4. Boost your emergency fund. Figure out the most scaled back amount you need in order to get by month to month.
That's going to include housing. It's going to include basic food and groceries, not a lot of dining out.
And 5, decide how much you'll invest next year and in what.
Just make sure that you're earmarking money for investing that you are not going to need for at least the next 10 years.
Well, meantime, the massive holiday winter storm on the U.S. mainland is now being blamed for at least 55 deaths nationwide. President Biden actually signed an emergency declaration mobilizing FEMA to assist in New York State, where there are as many as 27 weather-related deaths in Erie County, New York. Thousands of flight cancellations and delays continue to strand travelers at nation's airports. Now the federal government says it's looking into one airline's actions in particular. Jared Hill reports.
It's almost unreal. A restaurant in western New York by Lake Erie is covered in heavy snow and icicles.
It's pretty heavy. That's what I'm nervous about. But nothing broke, no windows broke, no leaks.
A driving ban remained in effect in nearby Buffalo overnight, where cars are still buried under deep snowdrifts. Thousands are without power, and another foot of snow is expected there today.
Anyone who declares victory and says it's over, it is way too early to say. It is still a dangerous situation to be out.
President Biden has declared a state of emergency for New York State as the death toll there continues to climb. The mayor of Jackson, Mississippi, meanwhile, also has issued an emergency declaration for his city after frigid temperatures caused pipes to burst, leaving some residents without running water.
The infrastructure concerning the water been bad like this for years, so it's no surprise that the water turned out like it did for Christmas.
Flight cancellations and frustrations also continue to mount at the nation's airports. Southwest Airlines alone delayed or canceled more than 70% of flights on Monday. That's according to FlightAware.
Once the storm dropped in the middle of it, that just sent the system reeling, if you will.
Southwest has apologized and says it's working to get service back to normal. The U.S. Department of Transportation now says it will examine whether the cancellations were avoidable and if Southwest is complying with its customer service plan and other federal rules.
And already more than 3,000 flights have been delayed or canceled all around the U.S. today, according to FlightAware. In this next story, it's one they will never forget, all because of this winter storm. Yeah, their flight got canceled, and it turned into 3 strangers taking on a 13-hour road trip together, all to get home for the holidays. Ashley Sharp has their story.
It's a story that plays out like a Christmas movie. Titus Converse, trying to get home to Sacramento Friday, finds himself stranded in the Phoenix airport as a flight delayed becomes a flight canceled.
There's nothing on the website that says that there's an available flight. Everything's not looking good.
He's not alone. The lines of people trying to rebook their canceled flights grow by the hundreds.
The line felt like Disneyland without the fun.
But a chance encounter in that not-so-merry line is where Titus's Christmas adventure home would begin.
I was like, it feels like we're in a movie.
Striking up conversation with 2 strangers who just so happen to also be Sacramento-bound, a new plan is presented.
I was like, what if we just drove?
So the 2 girls, Becky and Tori, take a chance on Titus. They ditch the airport and all load up in a rental car together, ready for a 12-hour drive home.
It's such a silly life that we're living. It was like, I cannot believe that this is actually happening.
They took turns driving straight through the night, getting to know each other along the way.
In today's day and age, you don't see strangers helping other strangers too much.
The generosity meant they all made it home the afternoon of Christmas Eve. Titus, glad to see family and to carry on Christmas traditions, like fresh-baked cinnamon rolls, admitting the little things are a bit sweeter this year.
A story that I'll never forget, a Christmas Eve I'll never forget.